Hello, long time no see. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, happy end of 2023. It's crazy that this year has gone by so quickly, as always. I hope that you guys had a wonderful Christmas, are looking forward to 2024. Tell me one of the highs of 2023 for you in the comments down below. I want to know what you guys have been up to, because I have not been on here for a very long time, and part of that is because I have been sick, I've been busy. The end of the year is always just chaotic, but I thought I can't end 2023 without telling you guys my favorite and least favorite books of the year. And if you are still around, even though I haven't posted in forever, then I appreciate you. I love you. And thank you so much for sticking with me. So this year, in 2023, I set a goal for reading 30 books, and I read 36 out of 30 books. If you are interested in seeing my updates throughout the year, then definitely follow me on Goodreads. I will have it linked down below. And I'm just gonna start by giving you my top 5 favorite books, and I'm just gonna jump right into it. So the first book that I read this year, and a 5 out of 5 stars, was How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. It is subtitled The Only Book You Need to Lead to Success. I think that's what it says. It's small. But this book was so amazing. I kind of did a purge of my channel because I feel like I need a fresh start, but I think that I still have a video up that has a deeper dive into this book. I think it's fantastic. It was a really great book to really just kind of understand like how people communicate in the world around us. And I said in that review that the title of the book kind of made me wary of it, because it seems like you're just obsessed with power and like, you know, controlling people, like influencing people. But in reality, it's just a way that, like, if you want to be respected, like, how can you be respectful to others? Highly recommend it. Dale Carnegie is well known in this world of kind of self-development. Also, if you can hear my dishwasher, so sorry. Highly recommend it. I think it's really great. I really want in 2024 to read more books about kind of like self-development, self-reflection. I hate saying self-help books, because in reality, as a Christian, then I still kind of have this like idea that self-help books are weird because they don't necessarily like point you to a God who is the ultimate helper. But I think that this was a really good book, and again, kind of self-help-ish. It's not necessarily a Christian book, but I think that a lot of the principles were very clearly from the Bible, whether Dale Carnegie is a Christian and recognizes that or not. My second favorite book was another nonfiction book, and it is Counterfeit Kingdom, The Dangers of New Revelation, New Prophets, and New Age Practices in the Church by Holly Pivick and R. Douglas Givett. I give this 5 stars on Goodreads. It was fantastic. Again, I talked about this in a review earlier in the year. This is such a fantastic book if you are somebody that is either exposed to or know somebody that was exposed to the New Apostolic Reformation, or the, oh my gosh, the term is escaping me right now. The prosperity gospel, there it is. Prosperity gospel, saying like, if you are a Christian, like God wants you to be healthy and wealthy. And yeah, God does want you to be healthy, and maybe you don't want to use the word wealthy in some scenarios. I'm a Dave Ramsey fan, so I think that there's nothing wrong with wealth, but just because you aren't healthy or wealthy does not mean that God is looking down upon you, or you have unconfessed sins in your life. And it doesn't mean that like God is always forever going to like, you know, just give you money and heal you without us using like the resources around us with doctors. I honestly need to go back and look at this book again to remind myself of the craziness that is out there in this new age. But again, if you are somebody that is skeptical of the New Apostolic Reformation movement, as well as the prosperity gospel, highly recommend it. My next favorite book or set of books is the Series of Unfortunate Events books by Lemony Snicket. I read the first 5 this year and it just kind of fell off mid-year, but I need to pick them up again because they are so good. And I think, again, I talked about this in another video. I keep repeating everything, but it is so good. And I remember reading these as a kid in middle school, and I just saw them on Libby and thought, let me start listening to them again. They're fantastic. And if you have not seen the TV show, I think it's on Netflix, highly recommend that as well. The writing is so good. It's so quick and easy and witty. And I think I had seen a quote by C.S. Lewis on Goodreads. You know, when you open up the app and there's usually a quote by an author on there. There's a quote, I think, by C.S. Lewis that said something along the lines of, like, any book that is worth reading as a 10-year-old is worth reading, like, when you're 90 or whatever, or maybe 9-year-old when you're 90 years old. And I just think that that's a really great quote, because children's books should be read and enjoyed at any age, because I think it continues to like bring out our childhood joy and curiosity and kind of like whimsy in our lives if we do read children's books. Next book that I loved was Stanley Tucci's Taste: My Life Through Food. This book was so good. I listened to the audiobook. I really like Stanley Tucci. I think that he is a liberal. So there are things in there that I'm like, I didn't love that you said that, just talking about food. But I think that he is a really great author, and the way he narrates his audiobook is really great. And I just think it's fun to hear about like his Italian background and the recipes that he and his family loved. And it makes me want to like eventually raise kids and have like special recipes that they're going to pass on, and to have my children one day be so excited to come home after being away because they're excited about my recipes. I have really been enjoying cooking recently, and part of my like purging of my channel recently was because I love reading, I love making these books, or I love making these videos about books, but there's a part of me that thinks, do I want to expand my channel to more? Maybe like, I don't know, showing more cooking, showing more gardening, showing more about my house. And I had started to do that a little bit at the beginning of this year when we moved into this home, which is fabulous. We still are just obsessed with it. This is our second Christmas in it now. And then I just kind of forgot about it, and things got busy, and I wasn't sure if it was something that you guys would want to see. So if it is something you would want to see, like almost more of like a, I don't know, like homestead-ish type videos, like again, entertaining, hosting, food, recipes, I don't know, new things that I'm just excited about learning, because like reading is learning. Anything that's, you know, learning, trying something new. I don't know. If that's something you are interested in, let me know. If that didn't make any sense to you and you prefer books, just let me know that as well. And that's okay too. Last book is a 3 out of 5 stars that I rated it on Goodreads, which is kind of shocking to me, because I'm putting it in my top 5. It is called This Naked Mind: Control Alcohol, Find Freedom, Discover Happiness, and Change Your Life by Annie Grace. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars because when I was reading it, I thought this is just a bunch of hoopla. It's all about like the subconscious mind and like just kind of drilling into your subconscious. Like you should not drink alcohol because it is so bad for you in these ways. And it's funny because I hear myself repeating the things that she says people say to say that they don't have a problem, when in reality they do, because all alcohol is a problem. But she says in here, essentially, like people will say, oh, I'm not an alcoholic. I don't drink that much. I only drink every once in a while. And truthfully, like that's how I feel like I am, and I was. But I just thought this book was on Libby. Let me listen to it, really like start thinking about alcohol, because obviously we know that alcohol is bad, but how bad is it? Who knows? And is it, you know, fun enough to partake in small quantities despite the consequences? So anyways, I say that this is one of my favorites now because I think it kind of works. Every time I think about drinking now, this kind of comes to the forefront of my mind, and statistics that she said. And again, truthfully, I listened to the audiobook, so do I know these statistics like the back of my hand? No. And did I check the resources? Again, no. I assume that they're there in the end notes in the book. But studies like if a woman drinks 3 drinks per week, like her risk of breast cancer goes up by 15%. And there's a lot of statistics like this. And I thought, I'm sure it's not that big of a deal. You know, she's fear mongering, all that stuff. But I think it's up there for me because I've noticed that it really has changed my perspective on alcohol. And I have like seriously cut back my drinking. And not that I was drinking heavily at all, but like I didn't drink on Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, New Year's Eve I won't. And it's because of this idea of like, I want my mind to be clear and to be naked and just to have the mental clarity and ability to really think with 100% of it without the fog of waking up with a hangover. And this is me just being very open and honest with you guys. Maybe some of you guys, I know that many of you are believers out there. Maybe you are completely against alcohol, and that's wonderful. And maybe you think that it's wrong for me as a Christian to drink alcohol. And, you know, that's something that all of us can have our personal convictions about. I just wanted to put it out there because I think that it is a disservice to you guys for me to not share something like this if it has really been impactful. Now, on to the worst books of 2023. This is probably the exciting part. Now, again, I said with my last one that that I gave it a 3 out of 5, and it was one of my tops. I gave this a 4 out of 5, but looking back on it, I don't think it did anything for me. This is by James Clear, Atomic Habits, an easy and proven way to build good habits and break bad ones. The reason I'm putting this as one of the worst books of 2023, literally no part of it stuck with me. I think that when I first read it, I thought these are a lot of really great things that I can do and implement into my day. I have done none of them in the year, and I read this like right at the beginning, so that's why it's kind of at the bottom of the list for me. Next up is How to Keep House While Drowning, A Gentle Approach to Cleaning and Organizing by Casey Davis. I gave this a 3 out of 5 stars on Goodreads, and I think that in this review, someone earlier in the year said, you're being too nice with your reviews, because I said how much I disliked it in that. This is full of social justice warrior jargon, and she's just talking about like the institutionalized problems with keeping house and how it's only like possible for white people to keep house, and the underprivileged and minority groups of the United States, like they physically cannot because of all of this oppression that they face. If you have read it, or if you do decide to read it, let me know if you get that same vibe, because I really feel like it was strong, and I'm like, okay, you are not actually giving me any realistic principles to follow. The last one, and this is the pièce de résistance of the worst books that I've read. This book, it's older than I thought it was, and I just really did not like it. I gave it a 2 out of 5 because there was one story that I did appreciate. This is by David Sedaris, which apparently is a comedian, and maybe I just don't understand his humor. It's called Holidays on Ice, and it's a bunch of different collections. I listened to this, I think on my way back from Tennessee or maybe Texas. I don't know, one of my trips that I did this summer, and it was just so strange. There were so many weird stories within this. Spoiler alert, okay? I read the first one. I think there's like 6 books in here, like 6 mini stories. The first one, I was like, wow, this is totally for me. It kind of gives you the idea of like an elf. Think of like Jovi from Elf working at like a Gimbel's or a Macy's, whatever it is, during Christmas time. And you're like, wow, this is so funny to see like the inner monologue of the elf that's working there, like this grown man who's like, man, this is the only like acting gig I can get that's anything close to it. Really funny. Then you get to these other weird stories, one of which is like this wife sending out a Christmas letter, and it's about like her husband's Indonesian daughter or something that like she didn't know existed, who comes to their house for Christmas. She ends up taking care of like the granddaughter or grandchild. Anyways, it's not making any sense how I'm saying it right now, but like the lady told the Indonesian woman, watch the baby. She thought she said wash the baby. So the mom comes home, finds the daughter in the dryer dead. Like crazy, like up and down, totally different than what I expected. I thought it was going to keep being funny little silly stories like that. Then the last one, it has to do with like a morgue and dead bodies. And I was like, this is way too much. So I actually didn't even finish listening to that last story. I would say stay away from this book. Like, if you like David Sedaris and if you know about him and you think that his stuff is funny, let me know. Let me know if there's something else that I should try and get into that is not this. I was just honestly blown away by it because it was really just kind of disturbing to me. And that's it. Oh, if you were interested in seeing the other books that I read, I just finished Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Just today. So that became my 36th book, and there probably won't be a 37th. So if you're interested in seeing the other ones that I've read, then again, definitely check out Goodreads. Also, again, please tell me a highlight from 2023 for you, your favorite book and your least favorite book that you read, as well as what you would like to see from my channel in 2024. If it's just this and you want to see a video once a month of a wrap up, that's totally fine. I am open to all suggestions because I am in my quarter life crisis. I'm 25 years old and I'm feeling it, even though, of course, I love my life. I am so blessed. I thank God every single day for the family that I have, for his love, this house, my job. Literally, I have nothing to complain about, but I am open to suggestions of new things that you guys want to see. So again, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful new year and a great 2024. I will see you then. Bye.